Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy has had some plans with NXT 2.0 before his departure from WWE. Would you believe that he was supposed to be a certain character? We're going to jump into that. Plus, AEW's powerhouse Hobbs releases a statement regarding the controversial tweet that Tony Khan put out last week. And NXT's 2.0's Bron Breakker wants his family involved in his WWE career at some point in the future. Today's top story of the day, guys, we're going to get started. Here we go.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
What's up, everyone? It is Sportskeeda Wrestling's top story of the day. Jose G and Jeremy Bennett here coming at you with all the top headlines in today's wrestling world. A lot of stuff to go into. We got news on Jeff Hardy, some really interesting eyebrow-raising news on Jeff Hardy, which makes me want to think. I wonder what the other universe with that reality what that looks like, right? So we're going to jump into that. We also got some news on Will Hobbs and some news on Bron Breakker. Before we get started, guys, as always, make sure you are subscribing to the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. We are right now on our way to 25,000. Thank you guys so much for getting us there. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you smash that notification bell so you never miss whenever we drop brand new content. We got tons of exclusives, tons of shows. We got Vince Russo on Monday nights with Legion of Raw. Myself, Enrico El Glorioso, Wednesday night with the debrief. Friday nights, we got Dirty Dutch Mantel with Smack Talk. And on Thursday nights, we also got the brand new show with DDP.
Bro.
Bang.
Bro.
The Bro Show every Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. EST Eastern Standard Time, Friday morning Indian Standard Time.
So we got 24.2 now on YouTube. Can we get to 25 by February?
That's what I want.
20,
I think so.
25.
I think we can make it. I think we can make it.
A quarter of a hundred.
Quarter of a hundred. I think
Come
so.
on.
I think we can make it happen. It's all on you guys. Make sure you are engaging with today's show. Make sure you are sharing, liking, tagging your friends in the comment section so they can join us in today's conversation. We got tons to jump into. So let's start off with our lead story today. Jeremy, we got Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's in the news again after a few weeks ago when he suddenly was released from the company after that controversial video of him leaving that multi-man tag team match at a live event surfaced. Just a little bit after that, he was let go of the company. Nobody knows why exactly, but, some behavior issues in the past might come back to haunt him because of that. But now we're actually finding out a little bit more on what plans WWE had for Jeff Hardy heading into 2022. And one of them involved being a shaman.
Man. Fightful Select dropped this morning that Jeff Hardy was factored in a lot of plans for the main roster up until the Royal Rumble, but he was also planned to be the shaman for MSK. Just days before that reveal was going to happen, though, is when Hardy got released. And, of course, Matt Riddle, who I predicted to be the shaman, was actually the one that was the shaman, which I think was the better choice anyways. They said that numerous segments were filmed and are on the cutting room floor as having Jeff Hardy as the shaman. Of course, since then, Riddle has joined MSK and, of course, the big six-man match with Imperium. Is that tonight, New Year's Eve, or is that next week?
It is. It is tonight. All those big matches. We got a stacked card tonight for NXT 2.0 New Year's Eve. It's going to be great.
Man, I predicted Riddle to be the shaman, and I think it turned out for the better that Riddle was
Absolutely.
the shaman. I mean, if you've watched MSK when they were in Impact as the Rascals, you know what they like to do. They like to, you know what they like to do. And what does Riddle like to do? So
exactly,
it was a perfect fit. And so I think in the end it did play out interesting. When I first saw the headline, I thought it meant maybe he was going to do something similar or do what AJ Styles did. And and then I read on, I'm like, oh, what? The shaman? That was an interesting choice, but I thought he would, I thought he'd maybe mix it up with someone like AJ did. But very interesting. Of course, The Fightful Select article mentioned that he was released after refusing rehab, which him and immediate family members have claimed he doesn't really need. And I may go see him in 9 days, so we'll see how he is. Possibly, I might do a meet and greet. He's in my town on the 13th for an acoustic set and a meet and greet. So I have not pulled the trigger on tickets yet, but
that is a very interesting piece of news, because imagine what that would look like. Jeff Hardy and MSK. Even though right now, like the Riddle and MSK situation is perfect, right? It just meshes well together. But another side of me wants to think that they would have meshed very well together also with Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy is very spiritual. He's very out there. He's all about the universe and all of this. And I think MSK can understand some of that.
They may not have gone full stoner with that gimmick. Maybe they would have. Exactly. I don't know. But obviously with Riddle, you got to go full stoner with it. So, but yeah, I'd love to see those outtakes. I'd love to see what was left on the cutting room floor, so to speak.
You never go full stoner.
Hey.
Not in WWE.
I tell you what, though. I tell you what. I'm kind of glad that they're kind of embracing that, though, because that was what made the Rascals funny with Trey Miguel. I love the stuff they did in Impact. So I'm kind of glad they're kind of doing some of the similar stuff in NXT 2.0.
It's TV 14, though. I mean, they're going for like a slightly more edgier show that they wouldn't do on Raw and SmackDown, which I'm okay with. It is one of those things that does kind of fly over your head with NXT. They kind of do some things you wouldn't see.
Doo-doo?
Hey, now. Dude, it's not doo-doo.
You just said doo-doo.
All right.
Doo-doo.
Dookie? He called the
great Green Day album. Maybe the best Green Day album if you want to really look them up. There you go.
My teenage years right there, man.
Chris Ulrich watching us on...
it's just such a weird situation, for MSK, because there's stuff they filmed, there's a direction they thought they were going in too.
But yet, like when I predicted who that was going to be, I didn't expect it to be him. I thought it was just going to be a random guy. I didn't, this was the perfect set. This ended up turning out to be perfect, actually. So,
a lot of people were expecting, maybe Rob Van Dam and all those different names to come back for that too.
I would have loved Rob Van Dam to be the shaman. That would have been a perfect fit too.
Yeah,
you can do the shaman of the shaman now if you really want to go there.
If the shaman needs more advice, he needs to go to the grand shaman. And
the higher power.
The higher power. It was me all along.
But it does show that Riddle's in good standing with him.
It was me all along, Dennis.
Oh, it was him all along? Who came out of that smoky room?
It was me, man. Come on. It was me all along, man. Come on. Yeah,
it was me.
RVD.
Yes.
The higher power, dude.
The higher power.
Yeah. Corny jokes. But no, I mean, it shows that Riddle's in high standing with WWE, that they would put him in this position. We
kind of knew he was.
We got breaking news. We got breaking news.
Whoa.
Veer Mahan is coming to Top Story.
Oh, Lord.
You shook me. I was like, oh, all right. Don't tell me releases.
I'll believe it when. I'll believe it.
Did we get one last night?
I'll believe it when.
No, I don't think we did.
I'll believe that. I will believe this when Emelina shows up too. Veer is basically Emelina 2.0.
He's almost there. He's still about to come. He's almost there.
My Lord.
Ugh.
Whoa.
Repeat that again.
Doo-doo.
We're stepping in all the weird jokes today.
Slap on my head. All right, let's jump into our second story here, guys. We got an interesting one here, written by our very own Jeremy Bennett on the Sportskeeda page. He had something to report about Will Hobbs here, because he issued a statement regarding Tony Khan's statement from last week, that controversial statement regarding Big Swole and the diversity and culture in AEW. So, Jeremy, dive into the story a little bit for us, man.
Yeah, as Monday Night Raw was going on, Will Hobbs posted a lengthy statement here. Of course, obviously, we all know what happened last Friday. That broke as Kev and I were on the air, and so we had to kind of discuss that a little bit, since that was quite the response that Tony Khan had. Will Hobbs here in the statement says, it often flies under the radar that Tony and Mega are people of color. And having them in charge of AEW represents progress for pro wrestling. I see firsthand how hard they're working to make wrestling more diverse. I want you all to know that I consider Tony and Mega family. I am disappointed to see their efforts dismissed. People have no idea the time and effort it takes to put shows on and to make AEW an open environment where people like me are seen and heard. Tony works hand in hand with people of color on the roster all the time about their story ideas, input, and matches. Not every idea will work, but every idea is listened to and valued. My personal voice has been heard, and I've had input from many of my opportunity. As a black man, I plan on using my voice to do what I can and make sure that this company is diverse. I'm also very aware that diversity comes in many forms: women, black, Latino, East Asian, Southeast Asian, LGBTQ plus, and more. The more diversity, equity, and inclusion we can build in wrestling, the more fans we can engage with and the more fun we can have together. AEW is a young company led by people of color and heading in the right direction. I'm proud to be a part of that momentum, and I know my colleagues stand beside me when I say that.
Well, I can't speak on the experience of anyone in a minority group because that just isn't my place in the world. But he's not the only person on the AEW roster who's come out and said stuff like this. Specifically, Leo Rush had a lot to say about it.
Yeah, he was not happy
and demanded an apology, which is crazy to think, and went on the record against this. And you had Tay Conti, who just hours before this big match, maybe the biggest match of her career in this big street fight, is going on the record. You have Nyla Rose kind of making jokes about it because she was brought up in that, saying that am I a babyface now? And you had other people, like Captain Dean, who's on the roster, who serves another role backstage. He's a coordinator for extras with them and does community work with them. And he's, making the rounds here too a little bit. So you have minority members of the roster coming to the defense of Tony Khan in this situation. But, and all the things they say are true, but it just doesn't address what she said. Like, I don't think that this is a conversation about diversity. This is a conversation about equity. and so that isn't addressed. I think there's some people that ran with this. There's many, many people who jumped in this conversation online who did not read what Swole said and did not read what she said. And you can see it's on Fightful. And kudos to Jeremy Lambert, who took a lot of crap for that, by the way, because he just did his job, which was transcribing an interview that people can read from a podcast, and you can listen to the podcast. It's out there. And if you listen to it, it's not this like I'm going to go after them. It's this, we disagreed. I wasn't happy.
You read something that's transcribed.
Yes.
And it gets lost in that translation.
Context is completely lost on people.
Context. Yeah. Absolutely. You don't hear tone. You don't hear pauses. It's just letters on a screen. So you look at what someone like Big Swole would say during an interview, and you read the text and you're like, oh shit, like, wow, that doesn't sound very, but then when you hear it, totally different, right? And I think a lot of the internet wrestling community on social media is guilty for jumping to a conclusion without listening or going to the actual source and listening to it. They just read the headline, read the text that's
not just the people who, someone else is guilty of jumping to a conclusion and rushing to something like that. And that's where I'll jump in here. The issue isn't just that. It's just she addressed equity. It was something she felt was an issue. She had health challenges that were beyond that had really nothing to do with wrestling, kind of inhibited her ability to perform. There is a desperate, obvious move here to not be in the labels that are going to get put on us if this conversation keeps going, except that tweet is still up. The tweet is still up. You can still go find it. It's still there. And the head of your company said, this, these people, this, defend my company. Sure. Okay. All right. But this person wasn't good enough. Rampage at 8. That's the antithesis of the character of the company that you presented in the last 2 or 3 years. And you're the head of the company. And let me use a wrestling term. You didn't mind burning some calories to burn someone's name. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't mind doing that. And the point got lost then. And it isn't that of course they're diverse. It's a big part of what they're offering here. And that's why they're able to do a television contract in other countries and do things like that within just 2 or 3 years. Excuse me, 2 or 3 years. But it just struck me as like, why did you have to burn her name? Why did you have to like say that she wasn't good enough? And then you have other people saying, they left on very amicable terms. This wasn't like a huge, like, we hate each other type thing. Because All Elite Wrestling doesn't want the stink that WWE can afford to take, which is, we're going to let talent go. We're big enough. We're WWE. We can do it. We think we can handle
I think I found the solution. I think I know exactly what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan turned heel.
Khan turned heel. He's a heel.
Turned heel. And he's leaving his tweet up so he can catch heat, so people can continue watching AEW Dynamite. That's
he's going to come out there saying he's going to come out there saying you're not good enough. He's going to
be like, you people aren't good enough. That's going to be his line. That's his heel line now.
Yeah, but Tony Khan,
to his defense. I'm just trying to keep it lighthearted up in here.
Yeah, Tony's not. Tony just doesn't want to appear on TV, but he wants to appear everywhere else.
Exactly. You see him all over reactionary. Social media.
It just
He's
struck me
interviewing left and right, Busted Open Radio. He's on podcasts left and right. He definitely wants a presence in the realm.
Yeah,
and I get defending your company. That's fine, and you did it. But the thing is, she's making points. She felt they could improve. That was a part of that wasn't just the only reason she was upset, right? That was a part of things, right? And if she's not good enough, then why? Less than a year before this statement, March of 2021, is other statements he's saying that she's great, she has a great personality, she's really, really talented. And then less than a year later, the conversation is she wasn't good enough. One line buried in this other statement to dismiss her. There's no defense of that. There's none. The defensive is WWE is All Elite Wrestling, a company that doesn't have diversity. No, of course it does. And that's what the talent can come out and say and put a good face on this thing. But spin is spin. That's what it is to me. Spin is spin.
Spin is spin. Exactly. And we got one of our loyal viewers here, James Espanto Fernando, asking you, Kev, Big Kev, does this show Tony Khan's immaturity by being so reactionary?
No. I would say it's just simply reactionary. There's plenty of other people I think that would react the same way. Maybe one of us would say the same thing.
He just, if anybody trashes the company, he's very quick.
And trashes the company at scale, meaning they're a name of worth that says something like this. He's going to come after that.
He is just quick to defend it and probably doesn't think about what he says. Yeah. Minor breaking news. Tonight's New Year's Evil is tonight, of course. The main event will be Tommaso Ciampa and Bron Breakker. We got a story on Bron Breakker coming up here in a little bit. Main event is going to be commercial free. As I have been an advocate of always making the main event commercial free
on every TV show,
all pro wrestling television. I hate when they go to commercial on a main event, but of course AEW does it different though. They sometimes put the main event in the beginning, so they don't have to worry about timing. But in this case, they get to do an overrun, so USA lets them overrun on NXT 2.0. But yes, that title match commercial free, and it'll probably be telling of what we're going to do with Bron Breakker. Is he going to stay in NXT as champion, or will we probably see him in the Rumble if he loses to Ciampa tonight?
You can see him in the Rumble if he wins the title tonight.
Either way, yeah. But I mean, if he loses tonight, I think he's going main roster.
Yeah.
They built up a nice little card here for this show, and you get AJ Styles too on the show as well. So
yeah, I guess just a discussion, so not an official match yet with Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller. The Grayson Waller effect.
The thing is, if he was going to wrestle on the show, I think they would have said it last night on Raw. It was more of an angle.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they do this match. You can't do this match on Raw. NXT's got to get the bump from this.
Yeah.
From mixing with Styles on the show. So
Yep.
And Riddle's on the show tonight too.
And Riddle's going to be in that six-man.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty strong card. If you've been sleeping on NXT, this is not a show to sleep on. Even if you're not going to watch it live, definitely, catch it on Peacock or Hulu if it drops there tomorrow. I think it drops Hulu. It's usually on like in the middle of the day, but Peacock, you get it fairly soon if you're looking for it too.
Well, guys, let's talk about the guy that's in the main event of NXT's New Year's Evil, Bron Breakker, making some news today, wanting his family to eventually get involved in his WWE career. Now, we've known for many years that WWE and the Steiner family really don't talk. They don't talk.
Maybe Braun holds up the bridge. He doesn't mend it. He just holds it up.
But exactly. Maybe Braun can be the guy that holds the bridge, that can mend the bridge, that burnt bridge between the Steiners and the McMahons. But we have a little bit more information on this. Jeremy, what's the scoop here, bro?
Andreas Hale from Sporting News interviewed Bron Breakker recently, of course, talking about the big match coming up tonight, and asked if he thought about the possibility of sharing the ring with his family. And he says, I have. It would be great for both of them to be a part of my career at some point. Who knows? I have no idea, but it'd be a cool moment for me. Neither of them have seen me wrestle in person. They've watched it on TV. Maybe down the line they can be a part of something with me. I don't know. And then he also talked about his family, about his opportunity in 2.0. And he says, I've briefly talked to my family here and there. They have high expectations for me, and I've always had high expectations for just being Rick Steiner's son in all sports. I've always said that. And so it's not really nothing new. I just got to live up to the expectations and perform.
I mean, it'd be a shame if a classic tag team like the Steiners don't get their place in the WWE Hall of Fame.
They have to at some point. They have to.
They have to, but I mean, Scott Steiner is a guy who has said some outrageous things about WWE and had his run there that he wasn't happy with. But definitely when you talk about who could still go in the Hall of Fame, the Steiners.
So is Ultimate Warrior. So and he's
and look, that actually got mended. You know, that was the Ultimate Warrior's legacy still tied to WWE to some degree. So it'd be interesting as well. David Barclay, if McMahon and Sting can do business, the Steiners can too. Vince is the king of the return. You're absolutely right about that, David Barclay.
I can't believe his dad and uncle haven't watched him wrestle, but at the same time, they
haven't seen him wrestle at all.
But he's only been in WWE. He's only wrestled at the Performance Center.
Another thing is there's not a lot of live fans who've seen him wrestle. Just by the small isolated crowd that you have in the Performance Center.
Yeah, so it sounds weird on paper, but when you look at it, he's only wrestled in the WWE. He made his debut he made his debut just over a year ago because he was in the NFL in 2020. And to see what he's done already in this short amount of time.
Incredibly impressive. I mean, if we're doing Rookie of the Year, this is the guy.
And we're talking about him going down to the main roster if he loses to Ciampa because he's that damn good. And he's barely a year into his career in only a handful of matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think that guy is destined for some huge success on the main roster. And I think they're just going to put a big ass rocket on his back and let him fly. I actually have a feeling that he might lose tonight and Tommaso Ciampa might retain.
Me too.
And Braun is going to be on the fast track. We're going to see him probably at the Royal Rumble. That's just a gut feeling that I got.
Me too.
Donna Marie Evans texting in saying would love to see the Steiner brothers back. Would enjoy that Hall of Fame
I'd love to see some Steiner math on WWE.
And that'd be ridiculous, right? They did a little bit of that, right? They hinted at that.
He teased it a little bit on 2.0 one time. I think it was Halloween Havoc.
Stephen Chambers saying, Scott, holler if you hear me. Rick, don't like me, bite me. Yes, everyone forgets don't like me, bite me. Everyone remembers holler if you hear me, though. For sure. So definitely, it's certainly, I mean, I'm going to say this. An overall feeling coming on a new day, or I keep messing up, day one. Positive feeling. Like, I thought Raw was a good show. There were some dead parts in the show. It's a 3-hour show, right? Like, I always think a 2-hour show is slick. You can get through it. 3 hours is bound to be something in there that just feels like filler before you get to something compelling.
Like that
Brock was cool.
Match.
The promo with him and Heyman had me guessing whether or not they were heel or face, which was cool. I like guessing. You got me like
when the lights were out and the lights came on and the open of Raw and there's Paul Heyman standing in the middle of it.
I do think that kind of threw the crowd off in terms of the reaction you could have got with Brock coming out with the belt, but that's a whole other thing. Now you're getting Lashley Lesnar, which is a huge match. It's surprising they're doing it on Rumble and not Mania, or maybe they're going to get it to another match at Mania, possibly.
I told you, man, the plan has not changed for Mania, man. That plan is going to be Brock and Roman, bro.
And if
Roman's coming back Friday. Roman's coming Friday.
If you paid attention to the main event, I think you might have found who's going to beat RK Bro. It's going to be Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. They didn't try to stop each other from winning, which is amazing.
Here's a news flash, guys. We're saying good things about Raw and SmackDown. We're saying good things.
I tweet good things every week about.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. Like you understand what I'm.
But yeah, I thought that was really telling that they didn't try to stop each other from pinning in that 4-way. So I think they're going to tag. I think they're going to be the ones to dethrone RK Bro. I don't think it's going to be Alpha Academy. I think that's going to be filler at the Rumble leading up to. They may take them at like Super Showdown or something and then set up and Randy turns and sets up the match at WrestleMania still. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that goes.
I don't mind the super tag team scenario where you take the two defined single stars and put them together, as long as they have a dynamic. RK Bro are two single stars together, but they have a dynamic as a team. They're an act together as a team.
Kevin and Rollins do too. So
they are an act together as a team.
Though I really wish it was Kevin and Sammy.
Yeah. But I'm getting a little bit of Jericho and KO vibes with the Seth Rollins and KO situation right now. So I'm getting a little bit of those vibes from 2016, 2017. Let's see where it heads down. But we've seen them go head to head, man. They had that brutal match at WrestleMania 36 at the Performance Center where Kevin Owens took that huge bump from the sign. Jump off the sign. So we know they can put on incredible matches.
That was such a great.
Yes.
That was such a great heel turn, though, when Jericho picks up the list and it's the list of KO. That was so good.
Incredible.
Why is my name on here?
That was
one of the best.
You do the inverse of that, and you do Rollins KO again. They did it at WrestleMania before. No fans. But I think you could do that one again, and I'd be on board.
It'll be good. I think it'll be good.
Owens has proved he could break the WWE challenge that they do of always doing big rematches, right? Of storylines that have gone on and they've picked them up, and every time him and Zayn have had a match, it's been a great match. Him and Rollins have had many matches together, but they're good matches. So they've proven with New Day and Usos again they can do it again and still have a really good strong match.
Yeah.
So things are good. Things are good in WWE. WrestleMania season, wow, there's stuff we save for this time of year. Now we're ready to go with COVID and everything like that too. Cross your fingers. Hopefully everyone stays
night and day from last year, dude. Night and day from last year,
and live fans too. You're doing this in front of live crowds.
Definitely helps out.
Do we have any odds or ends? Is there anything I'm missing here? I think we got everything, do we?
We covered all of our headlines today, bro.
We are there.
I do want to say. I do want to say this. I watched New Japan Pro Wrestling last night, and I don't know how people are doing this, staying up this late. And
what time did it start? At 3 in the morning? 3 or 4 in the morning?
2. I think it was 2 because I was still awake when people were starting to tweet about it.
Yeah.
But I have to work at 8:30. I have not forgotten. I have already taken the 4th and the 5th off next year, so I can finally watch Wrestle Kingdom live.
I mean, you can watch it, but you're just not going to be able to get it live, right? So this,
not if I'm going to work.
Can't wait until this whole COVID thing is over because I really want to fly to Japan and go to Wrestle Kingdom. I had a friend of mine in New Jersey that did that, and it was like the mega experience. I would love to go to the Tokyo Dome over there and spend about a good week over there.
Yeah,
it is a multi-day event similar to WrestleMania. They've been doing this for a couple more years of 2 nights at the Tokyo Dome. They're going to add a 3rd night in Yokohama, and that'll be New Japan versus Noah, which is like the Japan equivalent of AEW, the other big company that's right there with them. That'll be multi-man tag team matches, so it's sort of inconsequential the 3rd night, but it's still a fun super card if you're a fan of Japanese wrestling. Tonight, though, a lot of consequences. Last night, Shingo Takagi and Kazuchika Okada fought for the interim IWGP title that they were fighting for when Will Ospreay was out with a neck injury. He was the champion then. He left with that injury, went to Europe, the pandemic, all these different things. Now he's back in the business with his United Empire group. He now faces the winner of that match, Okada. Great card last night. Absolutely loved it. Some really great Steeler matches. You want to go check it out. It's available on New Japan World. Thank you to New Japan Global, by the way. They retweeted me. I just did a screenshot of Antonio Inoki. I was up. I woke up randomly. I didn't plan this. I woke up randomly. I was like, oh, let me see what's going on with New Japan. I was like, and then an hour and a half later, I was like, this is going to ruin my day. But I was still having fun. They retweeted me. Antonio Inoki, legendary wrestler who started New Japan in 1972, was a part of the opening video for it and kind of announcing some of the things they're doing with their 50th anniversary, which is pretty sweet. I hope they get to do a big show in the United States on this 50th anniversary tour. They haven't announced anything like that, but we are getting them back on television, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, back on Access. And CM Punk has also given Kazuchika Okada the address to the United Center in Chicago.
Holy shit.
We got a super chat.
I didn't know that.
He tells Okada to come see him and provided the address to the United Center.
Yes.
Dang.
All right. Another Madhouse on Madison, man.
We got a super chat here from Victor Nash on YouTube watching us. He says, Have any of you guys heard that Roman Reigns' announcement this Friday is that he's retiring due to health reasons and COVID? I have not heard anything like that. But we probably won't know until last minute. I mean, when he made that leukemia announcement, nobody knew about that until he made the announcement right there and then. So I have not heard any indications. There's nothing to that.
No.
Yeah, there's nothing to that statement right now. I know there's a lot of people who are jumping the gun on the situation with him because it came up so quickly. But it's worth noting, guys, out of the wrestling bubble, this is happening to a lot of different people. Obviously, with Roman, it's publicized his issue with fighting leukemia twice. My hope is that he's okay, that there isn't like this issue with him. Is this going to affect how you book him moving forward? And is this a guy who wants to take that risk? Like, we don't know. He put out online that he was vaccinated too. It's worth noting. He said that. So hopefully he didn't have a serious case, but this guy who's, immune compromised. It's a real serious question. You know anyone in your life who has juvenile diabetes? It's a real concern with people with those conditions. This is science first, guys. So, I mean, if that's something he says, it'd be devastating, but there has been no indication from any valid source. That is pure fan speculation. And there is no discernible report that can back that up at this time. At this time.
Nothing that we know about.
We don't mind popping that bubble, though. We appreciate your support, though, Victor. All right, guys. I'm busy here. Going to be trying to put some things together for the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Looks like we're going to be down at WrestleMania. It's pretty sweet. If you know any venues in Dallas, let me know. I'm trying to put together a comedy show. Reach out to me on Twitter, @KevCullum. Jose G, you're busy with the debrief on Wednesday nights.
That's right. 10 o'clock p.m. tomorrow night. We're going to be covering what went down tonight at New Year's Evil's NXT 2.0. And tomorrow night's a debut on TBS AEW Dynamite. So Rico El Glorioso and myself will be covering both shows and giving you the latest take on what we thought were both shows. So both shows should be tremendous with tonight's card on NXT. And tomorrow night, the first show on the new network, we should have very good shows to review tomorrow. So go ahead and check it out, and go ahead and tweet at me at Jose G official with the underscores in between, and give me a follow on Instagram.
Jeremy, quickly before you plug, answer this question for Jeff Van Oy so we can make our fans happy. What's your take on Johnny Knoxville from Jackass entering the Royal Rumble?
I love Jackass, but
I think he's going to get beat up. I think that's the point. He's going to get his ass kicked, and he's down to get his ass kicked.
I'd rather have that spot.
I think he's probably going to get hit with every single finisher of every person that's in that ring at that time.
Yeah. And probably kicked in the nuts.
And probably kicked in the nuts. Yep.
Yeah. And he'll wear that weird wrestling. He'll wear the high school wrestling tournament.
Yeah, probably. More than likely, yes.
Yeah. So that's his take. Jeremy, get your plug in there, bud.
You can find me on Lost in the Midcard. We're going to be back this week after a couple of months off. Just search for Lost in the Midcard on any podcasting app. Make sure you select the new feed. We're also on the YouTube. Give us a subscribe on the YouTube. You can check out what we're all about. We're coming up on our 7-year anniversary, and we're either going to be recording Wednesday, and then we'll drop it sometime around this time Thursday, or we may go live. If we go live, it'll be about 9 o'clock Central. But stay tuned on my Twitter at JB Huskers. I'll keep you updated.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us here on Sportskeeda Wrestling. We are here every single weekday in that 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Central hour. Make sure your notifications are on so you know exactly when we go live. Sometimes we hold off, breaking news, all these different things, right? But stick around that 5:30, 6:30 window Central Eastern Time, and we'll have exclusive content for you on our YouTube. If you haven't done it, subscribe, check it out. And, of course, check out the podcast feed as well. Thank you guys so much to Donna, to Thomas, to Jeff, to Josh for jumping in there. We appreciate the support. If you're with us for the first time, don't make it the last time. And remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing, which is what, gentlemen?
You have to enjoy it. Enjoy wrestling.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Watch out, watch out, watch out.